Hi my loves, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be decluttering some books, which I haven't done in a very long time. I'm in like the phase where I kind of want to go through everything in my room and kind of just let go of things that I don't need. And I thought like it's been a very long time since I've actually like looked through all the books that I have and actually like let go of some stuff. So I thought it was about time. I went around and totaled up every book I had, and you can see that on the bookshelf behind me because I've got like pink post-it notes. Let me know how many books I have on each shelf. And it totaled up to being 288. I believe at one point I have definitely had a lot more than that, but it's a bit disappointing because most of the books I haven't actually read and they're still in my TBR shelf. So it's high time I do this. So anyway, if you enjoy this video, please make sure you hit like and subscribe, and let's just dive into it. So this was one of the first books I decided to let go of. I think I bought this from a charity shop like years and years ago, and I mean when I first kind of started to try to get myself back into reading, I used to love reading as a kid, and then for a couple of years I kind of stopped doing it. So I decided to get back into reading. I don't know what I was thinking when I picked up this huge book. It's got like over 500 pages in it. Like I don't know why you would think that like if you haven't read for like 3-4 years you're gonna suddenly start like flying through a 500-page book, but yeah, I did that to myself. Never actually got around to reading it. This should have said what it's called, and it's The Interpretation of a Murder. It sounds interesting, however I think there's a lot of other books that I have that are kind of they're about crime, and I would rather read those over this. And also I don't really think I enjoy reading really big books. So I mean it already takes me a long time to get through like a 200 to 300 page book. Imagine trying to get through 500. I think I'd be reading the same book for about 4 months. So that's the first one to go. It's getting so hot in my room that I've started to like stumble over my words. I don't understand. But the next book I'm letting go of this, it's called Unknown by Humble the Poet. I remember when it first came out, there's a lot of hype around it, and also Humble the Poet was also quite well known at the time on YouTube, and him and Lily Singh and like that whole crew. However, like I read this over 10 years ago, I think, because I remember it was back in like around the 2013 2014 mark. I think I had Instagram just a little bit before then. So like this book is that old, and I forgot about this for so many years. It's literally just that they're collecting webs. Like I know I'm not going to read it again. And then there were some things that came forward about the author, and I'm not going to get into that, but there's no point in me keeping this, so this is also gonna go. Okay, so the next book was given to me, I think, by one of my cousins, but I think what happened with her was I gave her a book to read and she lost the book I gave her, or she gave it to somebody else and I never got the book back, so she replaced it with what she thought was the book that I gave her. Honestly, I don't know. It seems like a really interesting book, honestly. However, it's just so long, and for somebody who's already struggling to kind of get back into reading and start reading again, I don't necessarily think I'm going to reach for this. Also, it's more so because of the fact that I have so many books that are on my TBR. Like I'll go through the amount later, but it's just too much and I just don't feel like I'm going to reach for this. And if I do, like it'll be more of like I need to force myself to read it kind of a thing. I'm sure that once I do start actually reading it, I'm going to enjoy it a lot. But I think for now, I'm going to let this go. It's going to my cousin anyway. So if I really want to read it afterwards, if she says it's really good, I can just like borrow it back from her or something. That sounds really silly, I know, but there's just no point in me keeping this when I've got so many other series that I'd prefer to read first over this, you know. So that's also gonna go. So the next book I have is called Heroes of the Valley. I'm pretty sure I must have read this book or one of the books in this series like yonks ago. Like I must have been 10, 11 maybe. Like I must have read it, and at the time like I absolutely loved it so much. And I think at the point my school like was trying to get people, like the kids, to read and stuff, so they were giving out free books, and my friends and I, they were giving out one book per person, but my friends and I at the time, we kind of went back in and kind of took more than one book. It's so bad to say, it's so disappointing. However, I don't know what the hell we were on at the time, so yeah. But yeah, I picked up this book and I've never really read it since. I think I mentioned at some point that I'm passing most of these books to my little cousins. Like we have like a little, I suppose like a book club kind of thing going on, where we kind of, well, we're supposed to be competing with each other to see who's read the most books, and that person gets like a prize. It's not going too well, but it's got them all into reading, and that's why most of these books are going to them. They got first dibs and they picked, I think, like 2 each. So yeah. So the next book in this declutter is The Librarian of Auschwitz. It's based on a true story. However, I don't like reading books like this. I prefer like literally fiction, young adult. That's kind of like more the genre I go for, and that's always going to be like, I think, the genre I prefer. It's just different. It's just, I don't know, like there's no particular reason as to why I don't want to read it. It's just I know I'm never going to get around to it because I have so many other series that I would rather read. Like if I looked to my bookshelf on the right, I've got the Uglies series, I've got like the Sarah J Maas books I want to read, I've got like the whole Game of Thrones I want to read. I think that's the only exception, like actual adult books I want to read. The next book is called To Kill a Kingdom, but the only reason this is going is because I actually have my this is like a duplicate. So I bought, I think it was like 10 books for £20. No, yeah, it was 10 books for £20 on TikTok shop for, I can't remember which company was selling it, but this was one of the books that came in that. I got 3 series, I believe, this single book, and I might have gotten one other one, I can't really remember, but I already have this. There's no point me having 2, and they look exactly the same. So again, this is just, there's no point me having it. I'm gonna pass it forward to somebody else. I don't think it's got the highest rating from me. It's an interesting book to read if you just want to get kind of the basics of what it was like pre-Empire, during and after. However, I think there were points where I felt like the author was being a little bit biased towards others in the book. Didn't really like that. Didn't really come across well with me. But yeah, I'm going to pass to my little cousin. She was interested in reading. Okay, so the last 2 books are actually like hardcover books. The first one is Revolution by Russell Brand. I've had this book, I think, since before 2014. And I don't think I've once read it or ever felt like reading it. I don't know why I bought it in the first place. But yeah, I'm never going to read it. And I know there's been some, like, not the best, well, actually rediscussing things coming up about him. And that just makes me, like, not want to read it even more. And I literally just going to give it to charity, like, burn it if I could, but that's not good for the environment. But it's going to just get straight given to the charity. There's, like, not going to even bother reading that. But okay, yeah. So the last book is The Life of Mandela. The only reason I'm getting rid of this is because I'm going to give it to my little cousins to read. It was definitely an interesting book. I've never gone back to reread it. It's just one of those books I don't think, like, once you read it once, I don't think it's always going to be a book that you pick up again. Unless obviously you want to or you need to. But I'm just going to pass it to my little cousins to read. There's nothing wrong with this. It was a good book to read. It was interesting to kind of just learn like the basics and a few things about his life at the time. But yeah, like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I'm passing it forward to somebody else to read. But yeah, for like decluttering new books, I had 288. I think I counted it at least like 5 times, and then every time I totaled up the books, I kept getting a different number for it. And then eventually I was like, okay, do you know what, I'm just gonna go with one of the figures that keep coming back to me. But yeah, 288, which is a lot of books for somebody who reads like a tortoise, literally. But I got rid of 9, which brings me down to like 279, which is great. It's a start, going in the right direction. That's what really truly matters. And now I only have 234 books on my TBR shelf, which is great, you know. That's progress, I suppose. But yeah, that's all the books for today. I think I'll definitely be doing another declutter. I don't want to say soon, but at one point. It might do like one every few months or like one every 6 months, but that's if I actually start to read books more often again, which I'm really hoping I do, because yeah. But that's all for today's video. I don't know how long this is going to end up being, but thank you so much for watching if you got this far. Let me know if there are any books that you've been decluttering recently, or any books that you've really like been interested in and recommend, because I would love to look into that. Also make sure you add me on Goodreads if you have that. But yeah, thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.